Welcome back to another episode of the DEVpreneur.
Oh, he sounds so good.
That's right. In these episodes, we're going to be talking about what we have been working on over the last week. So Tom, who's joining me, as always, will be talking about Vocalmatic as well as some other projects he's working on. And I will be talking about Clientelify and other stuff I'm working on as well. So why don't we get into it? To start this week, I spent a lot of time building out the user interface for Clientelify. So a couple of weeks ago, I finished the actual engine that fires off, scheduled text and email messages, as well as appointment invites for that integrate with Gmail, Calendar, Outlook, whatever. And so now I'm building the screen so that users can interact with them. And so I've run into some interesting stuff doing that. I had some N+1 queries in my views that I just fixed because I was calling count instead of length, which was kind of funny. I didn't realize that would make a difference because in Ruby, they are like aliases for each other. Yeah, and I just figured out how to, because I don't know if you use an ORM when you code. Like at Tulip, we didn't. It was just all raw SQL. But on my side projects, I usually use an ORM. I just find it reads a little better. And so it's kind of tough to do like really specific queries. So I just figured out how to run a query in Rails with a couple different scopes. So scopes basically let you chain like pieces of a query together.
Yeah.
And then also search the results for partial matches, including some of the associations without hitting the database more than once. So I hadn't done that before in an ORM. So it was just like a bunch of stuff all stacked together. So I just figured that out. So that was pretty exciting.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway, what have you been working on this week?
What have I been working on? So I think last time we talked about Hotjar, and that kind of opened up eyes to, the conversion flows and stuff like that. And one thing that I've been meaning to work on was adding login with Google.
Okay, just to make it easier to sign up.
Yeah, so login with Google. I also added login with LinkedIn.
Cool.
What I realized is nobody uses login with LinkedIn.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if I've ever seen it once.
Yeah.
That's cool though. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought it would have worked. I thought it would have been a hot thing to use, but apparently not. But Google just blew it out of the water, right?
Yeah.
So we almost doubled the number of registered users a day, and that upped our
just from adding Google.
Yeah,
fantastic. And, love it.
And it increased our conversion rates by 10% as well.
Okay.
So that's been cool. Now I'm looking for how to use that into building other growth loops to get more referrals, and now that your Google account is connected, can we send out email, right? Like things like that to grow it even further. Because we're on track to pretty much the number was 1.8, number of people that registered.
Okay.
That's been kind of cool. It's kind of boring stuff week to week.
I don't know. I think that's cool. Adding some new stuff and then getting twice as many people signing up, and then also a 10% conversion bump. That's sweet. I have a question for you unrelated to that. I see the book Influence on your bookshelf in the video feed. Yes. Have I talked to you about that book?
Yes,
I literally bought it a week ago.
No, but it's my favorite book. I've read it many, many times.
Okay. I didn't know. I had no idea. Yeah, I saw it on I was watching a presentation. I don't know if it was Ruby conference or whatever. I've never actually been to any of those conferences, but I watch the videos a lot if it's related to something I'm working on, just because I find the speakers are usually really good at the popular conferences. And so Sandy Metz, who wrote a book that I've read, which is Practical Object-Oriented Design in Ruby. It's a really good book for just making sure you're not straying too far from best practices when you're building something. So you're avoiding technical debt when you're building. And so she gave a talk on getting what you want as a developer at a company. And it was basically all about persuasion. And that was the book that was referenced, Influence. So that's actually why I bought it, because I watched that talk. Not that I'm working at a company anymore. I just thought it was interesting, and I like her as a speaker and a writer. And I was like, that sounds like an awesome book. And I have the book, and I read it a long time ago, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
That's another one.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a softer version, less sciencey. It's more anecdotal, that book, than Influence, whereas Influence sounds like a little more data-driven. It's written by a guy with a PhD in psychology, I think.
Cialdini.
Yeah. So it's just kind of like a different perspective of the same area.
He also came out with another book. It's one of those, same guy, but Persuasion. It's one of those like airport purchases. I got a couple behind me. But yeah, it's not as good as Influence. I think there's something about books that look this way. If they look this way, then you know it's going to be good. You know the content's going to be good. It's like,
yeah, because if it looks like a piece of garbage and sells like 2 million copies. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
It's like when you see like web apps that look like garbage and you know they make like hundreds of millions of dollars, and it's like, this must be a pretty good web app. Yeah. Like people must really have this problem. Yeah, kind of like Facebook when it first came out and everyone was just like super psyched to cyberstalk each other.
Right.
And it was kind of like, I guess this is something people really wanted to do. I remember the girl I was dating at the time, I remember being shocked like how much time she spent cyberstalking people. And I mean, a lot of buddies just like growing up also shocked. But I'm not much of a social media guy myself. So but yeah, I remember at first, like, I mean, people still do call it creeping, right? Because it is creepy. You're like just like checking out what somebody's doing. But I feel like people have just kind of like adjusted to it now. And now it's like almost worse if you like don't follow someone and like all their stuff because they feel like you don't like them. Care. Whereas before it's like, you're liking all my stuff. That's like kind of weird. You're like looking at all my stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, times have changed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Now it's like a nice, friendly stalkers welcome kind of environment.
Yeah. So careful with what you put out there too.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Other than that, just kind of looking at stats, looking at like traffic, it's kind of growing, which is great. We're looking to hire a remote content marketing, social media contractor. Not in Canada. Because that would be pretty expensive, but somebody to kind of help with all that stuff because things are starting to work. So I'm gonna get some help. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of what's happening right now. Growing slowly.
I was going to say, I started trying to, I started yesterday, so streak of one day, trying to do this small blog post every day on my personal site.
Oh, okay.
So, the last one I did was about time zones and traversing daylight savings time in Rails and how it fucks you up.
Yeah.
And it's actually like incredibly counterintuitive. Well, I mean, it's like, I guess not incredibly maybe, but it was because Rails will make working like going from UTC time, universal, or what's it called? Central. I can't remember what's coordinated universal time. Is that it? I think that's it. Going from UTC to like EST, really easy. You forget to be careful when you're doing certain things. So like one thing you can't do, and it was a bug I was working on for a couple hours, and I was like, this is weird, is you can't actually, if your server's in UTC, you can't say time now plus like 100 days and then 2 local time, because it'll screw up the daylight savings time like traverse. So you'll end up with 1 hour away. Whereas if you use their advanced method, it will do that correctly for you, because the most common use case for that is if you're like scheduling something. So if someone's like, I want to schedule something 100 days from now at like 2 p.m., then you can just do advance 100 days, like at 2 p.m. and then you're good. Or if it's like a better example would be if you were doing like a recurring appointment that eventually will traverse daylight savings time. And it's at 2 p.m., like once a week, every week. If you were adding time that way, you would actually get bumped an hour at when you traversed.
Sure. Interesting.
And so that's actually the reason I saw the bug was because it was like a couple of days before the clocks changed. And I was like, what is going on? Because like my tests were like 5 days out. And then I was like, it must be related to daylight savings time. And it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I wrote it about. I think it's helpful. I don't know.
There's a funny video about this. It's always time zones or something like that. It's always because of time zones.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, for Rails, that's the gotcha. Like, as far as I can tell, there's nothing else.
Yeah.
As long as you store times in a database in UTC and you also just store a string that like ties a user back to their local time zone. It's like super easy to go back and forth in Rails. It's just like, that's the thing that like screws stuff up big time.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll link you the video. It's actually hilarious.
Perfect.
I forgot what the guy's name is, but computer file.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I know that account, sure.
I guess, or the English guy, whatever he is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, watch that. Get a good.
What did you think of the I will. What did you think of the standard out rap videos that I sent you? Pretty funny, eh?
It's so nerdy. I love it.
Yeah. He's actually like pretty good.
Yeah.
And the beats are like pretty good too. Like the what was the second one I sent you about like coding styles and preference opinions? That's what it was called, right? Standard out opinions.
Yeah.
That one was pretty good. Yeah, I love that one. Oh, I just I'm trying to tweet a little more.
Okay.
Yeah, for my 27 Twitter followers. I'll pull it up.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got a big audience on Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
So I just tweeted the lyrics to the one song I sent you. It's my favorite part. It's pretty good.
You tweeted it to me?
Just no, on Twitter.
Oh, just in general. Okay.
Please don't call me OCD. It's the only way to be. I can't let you code with me if you've never worked in C, or don't practice TDD, or aren't down with IRC, or don't read XKCD, or you use MongoDB. It's like pretty good.
Oh my goodness.
The whole song is that good.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Bitcoin one is also amazing.
Yeah. Which one to invest? Which coffee is best, or something like that.
Yeah. I'll tell you which coffee is best. Bitcoin's hot. You should invest. Yeah, pretty funny.
Yeah. All right. So what do you have coming up in the next week?
So I was really pushing the last 2 weeks to be able to onboard. So we have a customer that's going to come on like at a big discount. It's a buddy that runs a like a massage and personal training business.
Cool.
So he's going to come on and be the first paying customer. And I was hoping to put him on early next week. I told him a couple of weeks ago that it was going to be like a couple of weeks, but didn't really give a date. And so I don't think it's going to quite be at the point where I want to put him on it. So I might push it out to late next week or early the following week. And the reason I'm not in a huge hurry is because I'm the one who has to like maintain, upgrade, change, iterate on the code base. Like I just don't want any technical debt ever. And so I don't have any right now. And it's like pretty well tested. I'm not spending too much time testing, but like if something breaks, I like my tests, like I have almost 100% coverage, like pretty efficiently.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of like trying to do it the right way, I guess. So it's like not too much of a spike. And the reason it's not too much of a spike is there's a lot of profitable businesses that do what I'm trying to do. So it's kind of like, I know people want it. And it's a huge market and a lot of people don't have a solution yet, but they have the problem. So to me, it's kind of like, what's another week in like the grand scheme of things? If I'm going to throw 2 years at it, it doesn't really matter. So just wrapping that up. So wrapping up the UI. And then I also need to tune up the landing page a little bit. It's not bad. It's just, it doesn't look like I want it to look like a VC funded company would look, like really tight, really good. Just like very professional. And the reason that's important to me is I think when people see that, they assume the product is better and more stable. Much like charging more, it can just make people assume that the product's better. Like if you have a very well-designed landing page, people will just assume it's going to be a better experience. And so I want that. So that's kind of what I'm going to be working on the next week. And then, I mean, I'm going to get more and more into sales and marketing as time goes on and just kind of iterating on the product. But that's me. What about you?
Cool. We are starting to finally put together what it means to be a SaaS company, because we're kind of we're kind of like transactional SaaS. I think that's the term that I found. Where it's like, you just buy a package or whatever and you're good, and then you use a service. Still software as a service, right? Like SaaS doesn't necessarily mean subscription, right?
That's true. Yeah.
It's just, you could say SaaS subscription, right? But software as a service where you pay and you get the service and you're done, right? Now we're looking towards turning it into like a subscription model where you get your hours per month, but then what also comes with that is collaboration, and so it's under a thing that we're going to release called Teams. So you can use it individually, or you can go ahead and create a team, and then you can build a team, unlimited people on it. The only limit is going to be how much space you use and how many hours you get, but it's unlimited people coming onto it, right?
Okay.
So so we're going to start to go for that. It was interesting too, because somebody on LinkedIn reached out to us, and he was like, hey, notice that you're doing automatic transcription. We're so-and-so from Sweden, but we're doing like an entrepreneurship class at Waterloo. And they're like, we would love to talk about you because we realize that there's a gap in the market for your solution for qualitative researchers. So I was like, I asked him, like, so what's going on? Why is that the idea, right? And he's like, because somebody in their management class or whatever in Sweden was like, we want like a collaborative automatic transcription platform for qualitative research. And I'm like, cool. Like, it's interesting how
like qualitative research, like you can record interviews or something and then people can see the transcription. Is that it?
Pretty much. Like the whole flow is that, they do interviews, they record it, and then they transcribe it, and then they try to find insights based off of the interview.
Gotcha.
And, it's like a team effort. It's like research teams. Market research is also another thing, right? Like qualitative research.
And if it's a team that's always doing it, then the subscription makes sense.
Yeah. So that's kind of what we're going to start building and pushing.
That's cool. That sounds stickier.
Yeah, way stickier. Yeah. And, like charge for 12 months and you get the hours and stuff like that. So it's a lot better than it feels like e-commerce, right? Where it's like one sale. There's repeat customers, right? But then there's one sale, and obviously the holy grail is like subscription, right? So we're building that out. We're going to see what happens with that. Hopefully get it like really pushed in the new year, because things are probably dying down now because of holidays and whatnot. But finish off the year and see what happens.
That's exciting. Right on.
Subscription.
Cool. Otherwise I think that's it for me. The only other thing I'd have to add is I started trying to, I just did start working out a lot more.
Yeah.
I just find it helps my energy levels a lot. So I'm running kind of like 4 or 5 days a week, and then also lifting around 3.
Yeah.
So like often I'll work out twice a day, and then I like kind of take it usually pretty easy on the weekend. Maybe I work out once.
Nice. That's the one.
Sorry?
That's one thing to do. Like actually exercise.
Yeah. Well, I even find, between the ages of, I don't know, like 13 and 20, maybe 21, like I just worked out so much all the time, and I worked out like less and less after that, after I started working full time. And, I don't know. It's just like something that I personally need to do. Like it keeps my energy levels so much higher. It makes it way easier for me to focus. It makes it easier for me to sit still. I think it's just because I spent like so long doing it that I don't know. It's it's kind of like part of my default routine. And so when I fall out of that, I just like don't feel the same. So yeah, I've been having a lot more, it's been a lot easier to focus since I started doing that. And I just feel better. I just feel better.
Yeah. Stuff.
Right on. All right. Well, I'm excited to talk about Clientelify next week after the UI. Hopefully at that point, V1 will be done. So that'll be exciting. Yeah. And then we can talk about how I'm going to start trying to get some people onto it. Because I want to try and put a couple people on it before I go to V2. And I think V2, I think the priority feature is going to be real-time chat. Or like I say real-time, I just mean two-way. Doesn't need to be like super instant. Yeah. But so people can respond to appointment reminders and whatnot, or just like general outreach. Right. And then you can chat with them. Because I think that's the next big thing. I was thinking about it. I don't know how much people actually care about recurring appointments. Like certain businesses totally would, but a lot of businesses are like not super frequent. So it's kind of like, it doesn't actually add a lot of value. Like a dentist, you only go every like 4 to 6 months, maybe. Like, so it's kind of like, it's like pretty easy to schedule one off. Doctors, same. Massage therapists, same. The only one that really stands out to me would be personal trainers.
What about physio?
Yeah, or physio, but it would probably be over a short period of time, right?
True. That's also
it's kind of like, so like how hard is it to like click, like 8 appointments done? I mean, obviously it's better to have recurring, but it's kind of like, is it worth the headache? Because it actually is like a huge headache, because then you have to worry about scheduling over a scheduled appointment in a series. And that gets really complicated with ICS files, which is the file it's like the calendar standard between different providers. And so now I'm thinking like, do I even want to do that in V2? Like maybe not, because I was going to, but I feel like two-way chat and some other stuff is a bigger value add.
See what the people say after you get them on V1.
Yeah, totally. I mean, but so part of it though is I'm just going to have such a small sample size. And one of them, I don't know if he's going to come on actually, the massage therapist guy totally will. But I may also have a personal trainer on as part of that. Right. And so he obviously would be like one of the like few niches that it would be useful for.
Yeah.
So I'd be getting a bit of a skewed opinion. But yeah, we'll see. Yeah.
Cool.
All right. See you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.